The whole rest in many ways is more powerful than any other rest or note. Let's see how. If you had a time signature of 4/4, we know the top 4 means there's 4 beats in a measure, and the bottom 4 means a whole note gets 4 beats. So a measure could have a whole note for 4 beats, or it could have a whole rest for 4 beats. Either one of those. Let's say the measure, though, the time signature was 3/4. Well, that means there's 3 beats in a measure and a whole note gets 4 beats. So, if the whole note's getting 4 beats, you cannot have a whole note in a measure of 3/4 because there's only 3 beats in the measure. However, you can have a whole rest. A whole rest in 3/4 gets 3 beats. If you had a different time signature, let's say the time signature was 2/4. Well, a whole note gets 4 beats, but there's only 2 beats in a measure. So there cannot be a whole note in a 2/4 measure. There's 2 beats in the measure, and that note gets 4 beats. However, you can have a whole rest. A whole rest in a 2/4 measure gets 2 beats. Are we seeing a pattern? Let's look at another example. Let's say you have a time signature of 5/4. 5 beats in a measure, a whole note gets 4 beats. So in 5/4, we could have a whole note for 4 beats, and we still have an extra beat, so we could have a quarter note if we wanted. However, let's look. We can have a whole rest in 5/4. That whole rest gets 4 beats. So we still have an extra beat in the measure, and we could have a quarter rest or a quarter note. If the time signature was 6/4, 6 beats per measure, a whole note gets 4 beats. So a measure in 6/4 could have a whole note for 4 beats, and then it could have, as an example, a half note for 2 beats. So we have 6 beats in that measure. If we have a whole rest in 6/4, the whole rest gets 4 beats. So we have an extra 2 beats that we can put in the measure. We can have a half note, or we could have a half rest, or if we really wanted to go a little crazy, we could have a dotted whole rest. Just like a dotted whole note, you add 1/2 the value of the rest to the rest. So if a whole rest gets 4 beats, half of 4 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. So our definition of a whole rest is that it gets 4 beats if the time signature is 4/4. Okay? If the time signature is less beats per measure than 4/4, then a whole rest gets a whole measure worth of rest. If the time signature is more than 4 beats, the whole rest still just gets 4 beats.